We've been here before, in these lands between the great rivers of Tigris and Euphrates. It is here that human history took off, inventing the world's first cities, writing, and law, all before 500 BCE. So join us now for another journey back in time to explore Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. It is said that the gods chose this place for their very first home amongst mortals, because even then they knew there was something special about this land, and we are going to explore how and why over the course of 3 millennia it would become the beating heart of human society, shaping not only itself but the future of humanity. Until even today, we feel the aftershocks of its innovations. All this and more on this episode of Time Glider. Welcome back, Time Gliders. In our previous episode, we looked at Egypt, exploring its unique geography, and how it both constrained and enabled the rise of an incredible civilization. But unlike Egypt, which was relatively isolated from the rest of the world, Mesopotamia was a crossroads of cultures, nestled between the great rivers of Tigris and Euphrates. This geographic position would shape its destiny from the earliest days until its final years. As we zoom in on the Fertile Crescent, the area of land surrounding the headwaters of the Nile, we see the two rivers converging to form a rich delta. Their waters, silt, and nutrients were carried along by melting snow from the mountains of Turkey and Iran. As the rivers flooded every year, they left behind mineral-rich mud that transformed the desert into a patchwork quilt of farmland. Around 3500 BCE, scattered settlements began to appear across the landscape. As we move through time, we see them grow and blossom into thriving cities. The Sumerians settled in southern Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE, establishing cities such as Uruk and Lagash. Assyrians also did their populations. By 2600 BC, cities attracted migrants from around the region. The abundance of the land enabled settled life. As farmers planted crops like wheat and barley and herded animals like sheep and goats, they had enough surplus to feed more people than just those involved in food production. This meant that people could pursue other interests and endeavors, leading to a division of labor and the creation of specialized roles within society. For example, some people became craftspeople making tools or pottery, while others became traders, exchanging goods between settlements. These settlements eventually evolved into the first cities in history. Walls were constructed to protect the inhabitants from outside threats, and temples and marketplaces sprung up to serve the religious and commercial needs of the growing population. In these early cities, religion played a central role. Polytheism dominated, meaning the belief in multiple gods, each controlling various aspects of nature and human life. Temples dedicated to these deities became focal points of the community, hosting rituals and festivals. Priests served as intermediaries between the gods and humans, interpreting divine will and performing sacrifices to maintain harmony with the gods. Kings often held both temporal and religious authority, ruling over the city and acting as its chief priest. However, it was in writing that Mesopotamia truly excelled. The Sumerians developed cuneiform, one of the world's earliest writing systems. Around 3200 BCE, they initially used pictograms to represent objects and ideas, but as the system evolved, wedge-shaped marks known as cuneiform were pressed into clay tablets using a reed stylus. This innovation allowed for record-keeping, storytelling, and the preservation of knowledge. Over time, the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians further refined cuneiform, making it a more sophisticated and efficient system of communication. As cities flourished, so did the need for organization and governance. Early city-states, such as Kish and Lagash, were ruled by kings who held both religious and political authority. As these city-states grew, they encountered competition for resources and power, leading to the emergence of larger empires. The Akkadian Empire under Sargon the Great is considered the first in history, uniting much of Mesopotamia around 2300 BCE. This was followed by the Babylonian Empire under Hammurabi, famous for its legal code, the Code of Hammurabi, which established a system of laws and punishments. Later, the Assyrian Empire, known for its military prowess, dominated the region. Each of these empires contributed to the cultural and political landscape of Mesopotamia. But how did they maintain such vast territories? The answer lies in the introduction of the plow. Initially, farming was done by hand, a laborious process that limited productivity But around 3000 BCE, the plow revolutionized agriculture. Pulled by oxen or donkeys, it allowed farmers to till the soil more efficiently, breaking up hard ground and turning it over, increasing crop yields. This, in turn, led to food surpluses, supporting larger populations and the growth of cities. The plow also led to the development of irrigation systems. Canals and ditches were dug to distribute water from the river to the fields, enabling crops to thrive in areas that would otherwise be too dry for farming. This control over water resources was essential in a region where the annual floods could either nourish the soil or cause devastation. But what happens when a king wants to make sure his people stay in line? Enter the law. In Mesopotamia, rulers recognized the importance of maintaining order and resolving disputes among their subjects. Around 1754 BCE, King Hammurabi of Babylon codified a comprehensive set of laws known as the Code of Hammurabi. Inscribed on a black stone, this collection of 282 laws addressed various aspects of society, covering issues such as family, contracts, property, and even employment. The code emphasized harsh punishments, often meted out publicly to deter wrongdoing. While some laws might seem brutal by modern standards, they represented a significant step towards establishing justice and social order, and it wouldn't be long before word spread far and wide of its wonders. The mighty Assyrian army swept across Mesopotamia, conquering city-states and neighboring regions. Its strength lay not just in numbers, but in discipline and organization. Soldiers were trained to fight as a cohesive unit, wielding a variety of weapons, including bows and arrows, spears and swords. Chariots, pulled by swift horses, provided mobility and firepower. They were also known for their use of iron weapons, giving them a technological edge over their opponents. The Assyrians expanded their empire through military conquest, subjugating diverse peoples and incorporating them into their vast realm. Despite their military successes, the empire's reliance on conquest and brutality ultimately contributed to its downfall. Internal rebellions and external pressures led to the disintegration of the Assyrian Empire around 609 BCE. But by this point, Mesopotamia was well and truly established as a powerhouse of civilization. Looking out over the plains of northern Mesopotamia, we see bustling trade caravans winding along the road from Assyria to Anatolia. Trade played a vital role in the economy of Mesopotamia. The region's strategic location along important trade routes facilitated the exchange of goods between Mesopotamia and other civilizations such as the Egyptians, the Indus Valley Civilization, and the Hittite. Merchants traveled by foot, donkey, or horse, carrying goods like textiles, spices, metals, and precious stones. Trade not only brought in valuable resources, but also spread cultural influences and ideas, making Mesopotamia a melting pot of ideas and innovations. Yet it was the legacy of Hammurabi that reverberated throughout the ancient world. His innovative code of laws set a precedent for future legal systems, emphasizing the importance of justice and order. The concept of an eye for an eye might seem harsh, but it was a way to ensure that wrongs were righted and that victims were compensated for their losses. And the echoes of these laws can be seen in the legal systems of many nations even today. The story of Mesopotamia is a testament to the power of innovation, the importance of organization, and the impact of geography on the course of history. It serves as a reminder that the decisions made by individuals and societies in the past continue to shape our world today. By 500 BCE, Mesopotamia had reached its classical era, giving way to new civilizations such as the Persians, Greeks, and Romans. Yet the contributions of Mesopotamia remained. Writing, legal systems, irrigation, and urban planning all bear the imprint of this remarkable region. And today, its influence continues to resonate. The area once known as Mesopotamia, now part of modern-day Iraq, holds remnants of its glorious past. Ancient ruins stand as silent witnesses to a bygone era, whispering tales of a civilization that once thrived here. The very words civilization and civilized are derived from the Latin word civilis, which itself is rooted in the Greek word polis, meaning city. This concept is a tribute to the pioneering spirit of Mesopotamian city-states such as Urartu and Eridu. So next time you write, calculate, or follow a law, remember Mesopotamia, where it all began. That's all for this episode. What are your thoughts? Do you find the laws of Hammurabi interesting or surprising? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting journeys through ancient history. Until next time, keep asking questions and exploring the past. You never know what fascinating discoveries await you.